Hello, my name is Clay Lawrence. Today I'm going to show you why free trials are the only way to grow your high-level SaaS. And just to show you some proof that I know what I'm talking about, this is me on the stage at HighLevel Summit this year, receiving the HighLevel SaaS Award for over 100 active customers. You can see about the last 2 months here, almost $43,000 revenue just from selling high-level automation services for Google reviews to local businesses. I'm going to let you give you the context and the frame of this video. So this is for people that are trying to get their first 10 or 20 grand, $20,000 per month in recurring revenue selling high-level automations to local business centers. So obviously there are exceptions. I'm going to go over when you probably shouldn't do a free trial, but I'm going to go over kind of the simple math, why it's just obvious why you should do this. So first, let me tell you what I started with. So when I started selling Google reviews to local businesses, I was working with people locally here in my area, and I'd sit down with them at coffee, and I was selling it for $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 setup fee, and then $400 a month. And so I did that locally and had some success. Probably sold 10 or 15 people on those prices. The problem is that when you go to scale that out to people that don't know you, don't like you, or trust you, to colder audiences you can't sit down with at a coffee shop, it gets a lot harder. And so I had a rude awakening when I started running ads and started doing cold outreach and trying to sell it for those prices. I was like, wow, people are just like laughing at me. This just makes no sense. Like my close rates are ridiculous. This is the joke, right? And so what I thought about was, how can I remove all the friction from the process? How can I make it as easy as possible for people to work with me? How can I make it that I can get as many people onboarded and get as many people results as possible? Because that's the key. Once you get them results, they will stick and they'll stay for a lot longer than if you just sign them up and swipe their credit card, right? So we're going to go over kind of the simple math of just like free trials and why you should offer them, right? So let's say you get 10,000 impressions from ads, outreach, whatever. Let's just say 10,000 people hear about your business. And let's just say that you can get 100 meetings booked from that. And so these are all just like play numbers, but this is very similar to what I experienced when I was running ads, when I was doing outreach to try and get people to pay me up front in a large sum of money, even a small sum of money, because then I went to just like $239 a month and doing it up front. And these are very similar numbers that I had. So you can get about twice as many people to book on your calendar and meet with you and say they're going to meet with you when you say you'll do something for free, right? Say, hey, I'll start doing it for free. I'll start doing it for free. That's a lot more compelling than telling them you're not going to do it for free or not doing it for free, right? So you can probably get about twice as many people to book. In terms of the show rates will probably be pretty similar, but you're going to get a little bit higher show up rate. So that's why a little bit under 50% here and about 50% here. 50 to 60% is always kind of the show up rate that I've gotten when selling Google review services to local business centers. So in terms of closes, even if we keep the closes number the same, like you close the same amount of people, which probably isn't true. You're probably going to close a lot more people if you are doing the free trials. But just to be, once again, just be even more conservative, just by changing these numbers up top, by getting more people booked, you're going to have more closes. And so this number would probably be 15 or even more. But let's say you close 25% of people. All right, so now you've got 12 and a half people on a trial versus 4 people that have already paid you, right? And so conversion-wise, if they already paid you, boom, they're converted. And let's say conversion-wise, 10 out of the 12 and a half people convert. We actually have a higher conversion rate than that on our trial. So we know if we get 2 things on the trial, if we get their client list to reactivate their customers so we can send out a review reactivation, and we get access to their Google business profile, we know that we get about 95 plus % of the people that if we get their client list and their Google business profile, then we can get them onboarded and they'll convert from the trial. We can get them results and we're good to go. And so you can probably even get higher than that conversion rate. And so now, just with those numbers, you can see we added $1,000 a month. This is just with $100 as a play number. Our average is about $160 or $170 per month in MRR for our clients. But on average, you added $1,000 a month in MRR versus $400, right? And so now you've added 12 grand in annual recurring revenue opposed to $4,800. And you're like, oh, well, that's going to be a lot more work, whatever. But really, when you're selling marketing automation services to local businesses, it's not that much extra work per client. So we spend anywhere from an hour to 3 hours. So I just said 2 on average per setup. Like setting up a client, that's like 45-minute onboarding call, and then about an hour and 20, hour 30 afterwards getting them set up. And so literally the only difference here is that you spent 5 extra hours to make an extra $7,200. When I say 5 extra hours, that's the difference between the amount of people that close and you started doing the work and not actually paying you. So you spent 5 hours of unpaid work essentially to make an extra $7,200 a year. I mean, when you say it like that, it's a no-brainer, right? And so, and you have the same amount of ad spend and outreach, and you get extra reps. This is, like I said, this is from the frame of just getting started, trying to get your first 10K, 20K per month. Maybe you have 3 or 4 grand a month in recurring, and you're trying to get to the next level. Well, you're getting the extra reps. You need those reps to figure out where the hiccups are. Like I said, just about the Google Business Profile and access to the client list. Those are things that we optimize for now. Now that we've gotten all those additional reps, we know that we just need to do everything we can on that onboarding call just to get those two things. In the beginning, we would spend 30, 40 minutes trying to get access to their social media profiles and not even have their client list yet, or not even have access to their Google Business Profile. And so what we do is we just gear the whole onboarding call to getting those two things. Those are the most important things. Those are the first two things we do on our onboarding call. We don't want to focus on anything else until we get those two things, right? And so let's go over kind of just why this works. Well, the reason why free trials work when you're selling automation services to local businesses is it works because you work, right? It works because we work as the business. In the beginning, it's going to be a lot more of a service than a software. I tell our clients this, like, hey, when they compare us to other review automation softwares or whatever, say, hey, we are a lot more of a service than we are software, right? And if you have an issue, we're going to be in your account fixing it, not you, right? When you onboard, we're going to be right there with you. We're going to fix it. And so, we're very ruthless about following up with them, being very responsive, getting everything we need from them on that trial. And this endears you to the client because every time you reach out to them, every time you're following up because you need access to something or whatever, you just say, hey, I want you to make the most out of this trial. And they're like, wow, I haven't even paid this person yet. And they're this adamant about like getting stuff back to me and getting them results. Imagine how they're going to be when they start paying them. It's the same thing. It just shows that this is a good business, right? And so we've been successful with this because when someone signs up for a trial, it's go time, right? We are incredibly responsive, and we know that this is like this 14-day window is time for us to shine, right? And so if you think that you're just going to sign people, you're going to get people on a free trial, and then they're going to go through your onboarding process and they're going to do all the work, then yeah, this is not going to work for you. That's just not how it is. We offer free trials because we know that we're going to take on the workload, we're going to make it happen, and we're going to make it as easy as possible for them. And so what do you do once you get them on the free trial? Well, it's very simple. You just get them results, right? So a big thing with HighLevel, and depending on what you're selling with HighLevel, what your automation services that you're offering, we do Google review. Google review services help them get more Google reviews. And the first play in our playbook is we do a review reactivation. So we reach out to their whole entire previous client list. They might have 1,500 previous clients, and we drip that out over a couple weeks, and we want to get them a big win really quickly. And so when you get them that big win on that trial, that's why we have such a crazy high trial conversion rate, because people are like, oh my gosh, I've gotten 60 reviews, I've got 100 reviews, I've gotten 30 reviews on this trial, and they're like, of course I'm going to sign up. It's just, it'd be dumb for them not to, right? So you want to try to really make them do as little as possible on this trial. So a good example is, let's say they have a client list, but it's all dirty, it's not in the right format, the emails and phone numbers are in the same column or whatever. No worries, we got you. I can't tell you how many hours, especially in the beginning, I spent just cleaning up client lists for my clients. I wasn't going to make them do that themselves. If you tell them, oh yeah, you're going to have to clean that up, you know what's going to happen? They're like, okay, yeah, I'll get that tomorrow. And then 2 weeks from now, they haven't got that, and their card doesn't go through, or their card does go through, and they're requesting a refund because you haven't gotten them any reviews yet, right? And so we try to make them do as little as possible. Take on, even if that means extra work, even if that means cleaning up their client list for them, stuff like that. And bonus is that when you do want to automate this, or when you do want to kind of remove yourself from this process, or you want to hire somebody to help you with this process, you will know where the hiccups are because you've done it that many more times and you've done it manually for these people, right? You're not just giving them a login and say, all right, good luck. That's a terrible idea. If you're signing people up on a free trial at HighLevel, you're just giving the login and say, hey, good luck, have a good time. You're screwed, bro. Like custom coded softwares that have a very streamlined onboarding process where you take client through one thing at a time. It's super intuitive for one purpose or whatever. They still struggle with trial conversions. And HighLevel's not even built like that. They're going to get into HighLevel. They're going to be overwhelmed. They're not going to know what to do. You're not going to have training videos for them, or you're going to have white label training videos that suck and don't actually tell them what you need them to do. Or you're going to make training videos and they're still not going to do them or watch them because they don't care. They haven't paid yet. They have no buy-in, right? And so, when you get them on the trial, that's when you have to get them results. If they respond, if they email you on a Saturday morning, respond. If they text you on a Sunday night, respond. Get over yourself. Like you're trying to get to your first 10K or 20K per month. And that's what I've done, throughout the process of trying to get there. And so here's some times when you shouldn't offer a free trial. So let's say you're doing custom work, like you're building something super custom, like you're building a custom snapshot for them, or you're building a custom website or whatever it is. I wouldn't offer a free trial on that unless you're really, really good and efficient at doing that said custom work. But anytime it's custom work, it's custom, right? It's going to take additional time. It's going to be hard to systematize. So I wouldn't offer a trial then. And then also when you double need, triple need the client to do stuff, like you need the client to have skin in the game, that's when it's good for them to go ahead and pay. Because if they get paid even the smallest amount, they'll be a lot more likely to actually go through the process of onboarding or getting you the stuff you need, or getting active in the account and using it and responding to leads or whatever you're doing. And so the other thing is that if you're spending lots of money per client, let's say you're doing SEO services and you're like outsourcing, you're outsourcing citations or backlinks or something, and you're spending 100, 200, 300 bucks a month, 300 bucks per client, just on that trial, that can get pricey, especially if you don't know what your trial conversion rate is. And so, I mean, if you do it for a couple months and you know that you have a pretty good idea that if you do these things and 90% of them are going to actually go through and pay you, then that's great. Then maybe you should. But if you're spending a lot of money per client, especially in the beginning, then it's probably not the best idea to do a free trial. And so here's some of the biggest mistakes I see people make when offering a free trial. They expect their clients just they give them a login and they just expect them to go through their DIY onboarding process. Like I was talking to somebody the other day, and they didn't want to do onboarding calls, and they're like, oh, it's fine, I have a welcome video for them. It kind of walks them through the whole entire thing. Like, that's great. It's awesome. That's good. And we have a welcome video. Problem is, nobody watches it. Nobody goes through it. Nobody does it. And so, just in my experience, maybe you have a big audience, or maybe you already have a big group of people that know, like, and trust you. But let's just imagine somebody sees your Facebook ad yesterday. They never heard about your company, never heard about you, whatever. They see your Facebook ad yesterday. 4 days later, they're signed up on a trial or whatever. What's the reasoning? Like, if they don't have a lot of buy-in, if they don't really, really, really desire the outcome, you're gonna need a very low percentage of people to actually go through your DIY onboarding process and get set up. Once again, unless you've charged them up front and you have a lot of skin in the game. And so, another thing is like not even getting the card on file for the free trial. So I would recommend at the very least to get a card on file before you actually onboard them and start getting results. A bonus tip here is that what we've done on our kind of sales calls is we've transformed our sales calls into less like, give me your card on file, we need to get your card on file, we need to get your card on file, and more like, are you a good fit? Here's what we do. Here's our price. If they say yes, we go ahead and onboard them on that call. We're already on a call with them. Might as well take 20, 30 more minutes to get them set up. Then at the end, we ask for their card for text and email rebilling. If you're on the $497 plan of HighLevel, you can do that. And that way, because we're like, hey, we're going to reactivate your list. It's going to be like 40 or 30 bucks in text and email expenses just in the beginning. We just need a card on file to start the trial, and we're just going to rebill you for that. And so what that does is they've already got 30 minutes. They've already been talking to you for 30, 40 minutes, got everything onboarded. They have that sunken cost fallacy. We're like, oh, I've already gone this far. Well, I might as well just go ahead and push it over the goal line and score the touchdown, because we're on the 1 yard line, right? And so that's really increased our close rate, because we're not just asking for the card before we've done any work, right? But yeah, just make sure you at least get a card on file on that first call. That way, once you do get the results and stuff, boom, they're automatically billed. You don't have to worry about that. And so here's a couple notes on how to make sure you actually get paid. I would either validate the car with a temporary charge, so just put $5 on it or whatever on it to make sure it's good. You can refund it or whatever. And Stripe does that pretty much automatically, I think. If you add a new card, if it's not a real card or not a good card, I think it won't allow you to add it, just in my experience. I could be wrong there. You might have to check that. But the other thing you do is, if you are on the $497 plan of HighLevel, you can just rebill them for text and email expenses, and that'll validate the card, get them to add the first $10 balance for text and emails. As long as that goes through, you have a pretty good chance of knowing that when the $99 or the $179 or the $279 comes through for your monthly payment, that you're good to go. And so that's kind of a little bit about free trials. I made this video because I see people in the HighLevel community like poo-poo on free trials all the time, and I think there is a really good place to poo-poo on it. But if you're just selling Google review services or just selling an automation service through HighLevel, and it's not necessarily a super easy thing for them to set up, and you can do it in like an hour or 2 hours, it's just so much worth it to get so many more people on board by doing the free trial than it is to try and add all that friction at the beginning and get the money. And so maybe down the line, when I have hundreds of more customers, I have about 150 now, or if I have like just people flocking to Review Harvest trying to get set up, then yeah, maybe it will be, with all the additional demand, maybe it'll make more sense. But for me, my bottleneck has always just been attention and sales, and my biggest point of friction is just getting that card on file and getting people saying, hey, I want to do this, and actually committed. And so that's kind of what we've done to combat that. So I hope this is helpful. If you like this type of stuff and you want to start making money with HighLevel, selling Google review services or anything else like that, feel free to sign up to HighLevel with my link in the description. It's an affiliate link, so a percentage of what you pay HighLevel will come to me. And because of that, you'll get access to my community, where you will get kind of all of our training, our onboarding call recordings, sales call recordings, our snapshot, how we set up the snapshot, all that great stuff. Community is super active nowadays. People are always asking questions, other people in the community answering your questions before I can even get to it, which is amazing. I never thought that type of stuff would happen, but it's so cool to see. And then obviously, and then 3 coaching calls a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, where we'll hop on, I'll answer your questions one-on-one and stuff like that. So if you're interested, sign up with the link down below, and I look forward to seeing you in there. Have a great one.